GG14 is a lower body workout with 3 main goals. Number 1, we're gonna master the step up and build the VMOs. Number 2, we're gonna bulletproof the knees and improve our gait. We're also gonna fix imbalances between sides. You're done in 20 minutes. Here we go. Before we get into the drills, step up training does require a step or a box or something to put your feet on. Now, I like lower and higher options based on which drill we're doing, but there's a couple you can mix between. Number 1 is kind of a classic plyo box with adjustable sides. Based on how I position this, it can be 30 inches, 24 inches, or 20 inches. And I do mix between it based on which type of variation I'm doing, whether I'm doing a stretch, whether I'm doing, maybe even a split squat or other type of drills like that for other uses. I've got a wooden option here, but I'd recommend one of those padded plyo boxes. It's a little bit safer and more comfortable when you use it. But this is great for really heavy dumbbell work or plyometric drills as well. It's just really stable and sturdy. Now the aerobic step is an excellent option as well. We use it for so many different drills too, so it has a lot of utility, and I can adjust it one riser at a time, up or down, based on the drill, the goal, whether I want to regress or progress, make it easier, harder, etc. So you can also, without having the option of being on your feet for some of the mobility drills which require a higher box, you can modify by being kneeling and just kind of doing them to the best of your ability that way. So there are some options to mix between, and based on which drill we're doing, I will recommend a lower versus higher option. So do the best you can, try to find a way to make it work, and just be safe. Step stretch number 1, hip flexor emphasis. I'm gonna show the slant board options first because I believe it helps you get the most out of the drill, but there's other options as well. And we're trying to really get extension of the hip in the back leg and flexion of the hip in the lead leg. But the slant boards have a couple benefits. One, let's look at the back foot. Toes elevated. So I'm getting an automatic stretch into my calf, Achilles, and it's really gonna help with kind of the push off of that back leg when walking, running. It also will help with your step up mechanics, any sort of gait or single leg option. Now, top leg, this is gonna help elevating the heel. It's gonna drive more flexion in the hip and the knee. So, I can add some internal external rotation of the hip. I can kind of drive my hip forward and backward like this. I can add a rotation of one arm and then kind of the other arm to get into some thoracic spine or upper back mobility, and just really helps also kind of get into those, especially when I come laterally here like this, the psoas or high hip flexors. So there's really, no limit to the movement you can do here. Adding some movement is really critical here to getting the most out of the drill. And you can see when I'm positioned with the slant boards, I've got full motion, and you'll never need to be that deep when you're running or doing step up. So it just gives you that extra mobility you need for guaranteed full range of motion. Without the slant boards, again, still some great benefits there, because what I can do is I can actually come onto my toes a bit and work on just mobilizing the forefoot and the toes, ankle. I can also kind of do a little more work for the back leg. So just kind of working on getting onto the balls of the feet, the toes, doing some side to side, some actual kind of almost calf raising, if you will, and then actually just kind of working on single leg extensions, trying to get those low quads active as I kind of drive the feet to the floor and fully extend and squeeze out that quad, but also really trying to mobilize the trail leg hip flexor as well. So this is just phenomenal. Again, what I like to do anytime, these drills not only work to warm me up for this workout, but EHO or just off-day recovery, everyday mobility drills. Anytime you have back pain, one of the best things you do is get your leg up on a box, switch sides. Really helps alleviate a lumbar spine stress, realign the pelvis, and open up the hips. So let's go on to the next one. Step stretch number 2, the glute emphasis or the piriformis. So a very important area to mobilize if you have a history of sciatica or back pain, or you find yourself often standing, walking, running with your toes out. We gotta open that up into external rotation. So I'm gonna show you the more advanced option. I'll show you the modification as well. I like to kind of go off to the side a bit. I like a kind of a pad for the foot, make sure it's comfortable. And we can emphasize going horizontally. We can also emphasize going vertically and use as much assistance as you need with the hands. And back toe emphasis, we are gonna get the hip flexor stretch here, but mainly glute stretch here. So I just start by kind of exhaling forward, inhaling back, trying to keep my chest out, using my palms to kind of help that positioning. After about 3 to 5 of those guys, Now I can start to emphasize kind of sinking my hips down more to really extend the stretch vertically. So inhale down, exhale up. And what you want to try to think about doing here is using this glute to lift you back up. I can add a little rotation here as well. Now, one thing you want to kind of work towards here is getting just a one hand or even no assist, right? Completely isolated where I can just kind of get out here and then just isometrically hold through the strength of that hip. So this is going to really help build the glute, stretch the hip, bulletproof the back, all right? And just sink into it. I can still work on my back leg too there. Now, some of you that, it's a little more advanced when I just go foot here and I can get a deeper sink and I could put more stress into the hip. If you're newer to this, you feel a little bit of tension in the knee, a little bit of belch. The modification is I come here and I just give my heel through knee, let them be kind of fully supported on the box. And it's not as stressful. So it's a way to kind of get into the drill. I can still do kind of the in and out action. I can do the sinking. I can also kind of move to more of my foot side versus more of my knee side as I do it. And just kind of adding side to side motion, getting up, sinking down. So lots of options there. But again, it'll help turn you from here to here, really alleviate back pain. And it does build your butt, especially as you get more of your body weight into the stretch. Step stretch number 3, hamstring emphasis. Now, I can put toes elevated on the back foot to, again, get more calf and ankle stretch, up to you. And now we're going hamstring, right? So back of the thigh. When we can't get enough motion through here, we tend to have to round at the spine, and that puts us at that horrible kind of flexed lumbar spine position, that bulging herniated disc type of position we want to avoid as much as possible when picking things up, bending over, or doing hinge style of drills. So what we do here is get nice in position, keep the leg as straight as you can. I first like to start with basically a hip internal external rotation treatment here, all right? And I'm trying to actually drive this back hip out to the side. So this is kind of more of that external, in and out like this, just adding that hip rotation. And this also gets all 3 compartments of the hamstring, inner, middle, and outer going as well. I can grab the foot, I can use my hand to apply manual resistance, kind of pull back, and then use my calves to push away. So, and then pull back as far as you can, really getting into, behind the knee area. Get all the way out as you can. It also kind of involves a little bit of shoulder stretch, opposite hip, shoulder action here as well. Add that motion this way. Now I can also kind of create a straight leg hip hinge process where I basically kind of get here, make sure I feel that small arc of my back maintained, chest up, inhale down, and I just try to get as much load as I can into this straight leg, feeling that stretch, but also just some strength in here as well. And then I'm going to exhale up as I push and kind of go all the way through. You want to really add some top leg hip flexor emphasis here too, as you can work on some pickups where I will kind of exhale up, lift it up. Initially, it won't even do much of a lift, but you really feel those hip flexors start to go big time on this. And you could get rid of the back slant board too. And what does that allow you to do? I can kind of work this leg back further and get into more of a split position, right? So again, all these high box drills, you get better leverage. You can spend more time in them and just get better positioning. And anytime you have to get on the ground, it's great. And you work on kind of that back leg and just kind of creating that separation or that scissor split style. So this one's great, very important if you have a history of back pain. The eccentric heel elevated step up is one of my favorite drills to really master the step up, and elevating the heel will increase the range of motion at the hip and the knee and also target your lower quads or VMO more. It also puts you in a position as if you were doing a step up more towards the front of the foot or toes or forefoot, which is how you'll tend to do stairs and other types of drills. It's very difficult to do any sort of stair climbing on the flat foot or heel situation, right? So it actually helps prepare you for the demands of that, but it does increase the knee stress, which is why we have to emphasize slow, controlled eccentric training in the beginning. So one thing, just be mindful, I don't want you to do your first rep and crush your skull or hurt your neck, so just Pay attention to the ceiling height here, but I'm going to just stand up, and I recommend a pair of 2.5 to 5 pound, up to 10 pound light weights for counterbalance as you reach. It'll allow you to sit taller and deeper, better form and technique, more upright trunk, more quad stress, and also squeeze these handles hard. This creates an irradiation effect that adds more stability to your whole body. So do a big exhale at the top, and then slowly inhale down for 3 to 5 seconds. Now, right about that halfway point, you're gonna wanna start to go faster or plop. That's where you have to really fight. I come all the way down, nice and quiet, and then I will step through and repeat. Now, if you find yourself really plopping at the bottom, you can just adjust to a lower box height. And consider too, when I elevate the heel, it's automatically an increase the height of the box than you would be normally using. So just pay attention to that. It might be a little more challenging in the beginning. So just really emphasize going slow and staying tall. Empty it all the way out so we can get an inhale completely all the way down. Right there, fight for it. And if you can start to add like a little hover hold before you touch, it's even better. And if you need to, you can get rid of this, and you can see how much, that's more of a top thigh parallel versus when I do the heel elevated, you can see the hip creases beneath the knee crease, which again, better stretch, better gains, more bulletproofing there as well. But be slow, be controlled, and the counterbalance helps tremendously. Trust me on that. Love this variation, the crossover step up, super great for the knees and those lower quad VMO area. Now, it's gonna go lower than you would normally go, all right, for how we're gonna do this. I also wanna elevate the heel if you can to get even more lower quad stress and just get you more pressuring through instead of the whole foot or even more towards the heel, more towards the mid forefoot toe area. So what I'm gonna do here is, and again, that's a good height to start with. And we can go slow, we can go fast, we can mix between them, which I'll talk about. The focus here is, and I like a thinner boxer step also allows you to kind of go side to side, which is great. Now we're adding some movement in the side to side lateral frontal plane, which creates more stabilization benefits, also works your inner and outer hip thigh more for more complete development and injury reduction risk, right? So we're here, I'm going to be exhaling up, inhaling down on this. I'll be reaching my arms for counterbalance, but in the slow fashion, keep as much weight as you can the whole time on the support leg here, all right? I'm going to exhale up, all right, like that. And then I'm gonna inhale down, nice and slow. And you can see, look at the angle I'm creating here, all right? So it's kind of coming out to the side. There's a big stretch coming into the hip, all right? Inhale down, reach for counterbalance on the descent. And then coming right back through. Great for extended time under tensions. Go as slow and steady as you can, and again, avoid the plopping. Now, when I go fast, this is gonna create a totally different feel. Kind of more pump and run. This is great for strength, stability, control, going slow. And when I go fast too, I'm actually not even trying to really fully lock out the leg at the top. It's kind of an isodynamic exercise. I'm coming up and down, but not all the way up and down like it was previously. So here's what it looks like. I kind of go prayer position on this, and I'm going and I'm keeping as much weight as I can in that lead leg, and that in and out action is just, it is firing up because that knee wants to be going crazy. To keep it level and stable, you gotta really fight down, and it burns the hell out of your quads. So if I was doing a 2-minute set, sometimes I'll start 1 minute slow and then go 1 minute fast. Or I could switch between slow and fast every 30 seconds for the total time period. But both options are great, but start slow, because if you can do it slow, doing it fast is easy. But if you can't do it slow, adding speed will just cause discomfort, and you won't get any activation the way we need to get the most out of this exercise. Get after it today. The alternating step up is a staple in my leg training regimen. I consider the step up to be the brother or sister of the alternating lunge. The step up is more glute and hamstring dominant, where the lunge is more quad dominant. So I like to mix between them for training variety, complete lower body development, and also preventing, you do too much lunging, it can bother your knees. So on a day where maybe your knee's a little bit sore, you did a lot of, heavy squat type work or jumping, a little more knee stress, I can go to the step up and get a little less knee stress, a little more hip stress. So it just gives you a way to kind of round things out. Now, let's talk setup. A lower box or step and a little bit more onto the toe gets more calf and quad, where a higher boxer step with a flatter foot positioning and a more vertical shin gets more glute hamstring. So you can understand that too and how you set it up. But if I'm talking just kind of the classic setup here, I like it so the top thigh is about parallel to the floor, and we're gonna have a flatter foot position here, especially if we're gonna load up with bells. So if I wanna go more of a loaded strength emphasis, I grab a pair of bells. I'd start with a pair of 10 to 25 pound bells. And one thing to note too, when you're holding here, you don't wanna be out of control. This is what I see a lot with people doing step ups. They're like swinging the weights up and down, and then again, really sloppy on the way down. You've gotta create an active rear delt lat contraction. It's almost as if doing a carry. So when I step up and you exhale up, the weights don't shift forward on you. And then on the way down, always go about twice as long on the descent so we don't plop and we actually put stress through the glute and hamstring the way we want. So control it down that way, and then I'll switch sides. What's unique about the step up versus the lunge is I actually have to use my hip flexors to lift the leg into position before I step up. So when you alternate legs, right? Inhale down. And if I wanted to increase the challenge with the same weight, I can load up here, all right? So also, think about what we're trying to do here. You're not just picking the leg up, but you also want to push down. You want to stomp into the box to get that full extension into the hip. Weight up at shoulder level. Get your trunk more upright for more quad stress. It also makes this weight feel almost twice as heavy as it would here. Now, if I wanted less strength, more kind of cardiometabolic, I could go body weight, and the big focus is a fast twitch fiber emphasis without even having to leave the box, especially if we have a ceiling issue. All I'm gonna focus on doing here, and I like to go opposite arm leg mechanics here, I'm just gonna power through, kind of stomp into the box, come up really quick, control it down. So we create power through an explosive step up without losing control. And then we're coming down faster, but again, I can come down quick. This is coming down quick, no control. Okay? Not good. This is coming down quick with control. See the difference? I'm ready to go into it and kind of pick it up. Another option you can do, you can start loaded at a slower tempo with more control, put the weights down, go body weight faster. So let's say I was doing a 2-minute set. I could start heavy with weights. In the first minute, second minute, set the weights down, go fast with body weight. I also love these as 10-minute starters or finishers. And in that case, you can just mix it every minute. Loaded, unloaded, or 5 minutes loaded, 5 minutes body weight, mixing tempo, load. Have some fun with it, but this is just a great way to finish a workout, start a workout, or get extra work on off days. Get your cardio up and get some serious leg gains. And because we're going one side at a time, we fix some balances and there's much less joint stress. Woo-wee! So this is technically another bodyweight leg day, though you can add dumbbells towards the end of the workout for the finishing alternating step-up section. But I also made this because I want you to be able to take it outside during summer months or warmer months. I love taking the training outside when you can. And the first 10 minutes, heavy mobility work. That section, by the way, you can take out and do as a daily hip mobility sequence. I love to do that also before I would walk or run. Just kind of gets the gait set and opens things up. And you can do it while you're watching TV, kind of Netflix and stretch style as well. The second 10 minutes is more muscle gain focus, and we'll keep building on the step up the whole year. But the two most important exercises I do to build my legs for longevity, the lunge and the step up. Combined, I don't really think you can do much of anything else. We'll still do, our hip thrusts, safe versions of bilateral squatting, but these are the two drills we focus on the most. And feel free to take this a step further. Do some Stairmaster or some extended 10 to 20 plus minute continuous step up work, mixing in variations however you want. But this workout itself will really set the stage, take your step ups to a whole new level. Make your post-workout report in the comment section below. You're done in 20 minutes. I love you so much. I'm tasty and horny.
Go.
Halfway. Rest. Go. Halfway. Rest. Go. Halfway. Rest. Go. Halfway. Rest. Go. Halfway. Rest. Go. Halfway. Rest. Go. Half weight. Go. Half weight. Rest. Go. Half weight.
Go.
Halfway. Rest.
Go.
Halfway.